Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first edition of the Final Minute. I am your host, creator, and editor, Dante Gordon. Today we are here with a Who Dat Nation fan by the name of Eureka Gordon.
Who dat?
We'll be talking about last night's NFL action, where the Saints defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 26-24, eliminating them from playoff contention. Last night's passing leader, of course, Drew Brees with 250 yards, one touchdown, and two interceptions. Those two interceptions coming early in the game, and the Saints not coming out so fluid in their offensive play. Two interceptions last night to open up the game. With the way ahead playing a much better Seattle Seahawks team, what do you think you all need to do to improve to play on the road again and win in that hostile environment?
I mean, we definitely have to cut out the mistakes. I mean, every team makes mistakes, but I mean, we've been making one too many mistakes in our road leading up to the playoffs and in yesterday's game. So definitely cut out a lot of mistakes.
Okay, yeah, mistakes in the playoffs on the road, of course, not something you want to do, especially at Seattle. The last time you all played Seattle, of course, this year, final score being 34-7, not very close. A lot of mistakes in that game. What do you all need to do this time as far as when it comes to the defense to stop Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch, the terrible tandem right now that's tearing everybody up in the NFL?
Well, since everyone figured out our bounty secret, I don't think we can use that anymore. So, I mean, we just have to stop the team as a whole. It's not just one or two players. I mean, yeah, they're the best players on the team, so to speak. But I mean, we have to stop the whole team to come out with a win, because you can stop one or two players and still lose the game.
Seattle has one of the better front fours as far as defense in the NFL, and as of late, Drew Brees has been sacked probably more in a 5-6 game span than he's ever been sacked in his NFL career. What does the offensive line need to do next week to at least slow down Seattle? Because they're very hungry, they're very mean, especially at home. What do you think is the most important thing that the Saints is offensively need to work on as far as either executing or protecting Breeze, giving him more time? The run game, something that Sean Payton's not, he doesn't really use a lot. So what do you think needs to happen next week offensively?
I mean, everything you just said, protecting Drew Brees, as far as protecting the ball and just I don't think it's going to happen in one game. We have to wait till the draft to get some better, people on our offensive line. But I mean, for right now, we could just work with what we have and just do our best to try to come out with a win. But definitely protecting Brees, I think that's our biggest downfall, in the last few games leading up to the playoffs.
Okay, if you were in Seattle Seahawks shoes and you were looking at last night's game, what do you see as a flaw in the New Orleans Saints ball club?
Mistakes. Everybody was making mistakes. To the fumbles that happened yesterday, to the interceptions, we have to make sure the ball is thrown accurately. People get to the ball in time. Don't rush things. Rush when needed, but take our time. No trick plays too early on, but there's room for trick plays in the game when needed. And just we have to take our time. But if I was in the Seattle Seahawks shoes, I'd say if we played like we played yesterday, we might win the game.
Okay. Evidently, this year on the road has been quite troublesome. Before last night's match, the Saints were 3-5 on the road. Of course, 2 games under 500. But what do you think is going through Drew Brees' head right now? What do you think he's thinking right now? What is it that's going on in his head that he has to convince himself that the Saints are going to march into Seattle, that hostile crowd, in the playoffs, and it won't be a repeat of either earlier this year or what happened back when you all were defending the NFL crown?
Well, I mean, if I was in Drew Brees' shoes, obviously I would want to shut my haters up, as people would say, and show these people that we can win on the road. I mean, I think we could pull it off. Like I said, we have to get the mistakes down pat. Obviously, he has to go back and watch the film from yesterday's game and see where he went wrong as far as throwing the interceptions, see whether it was him or whether it was a receiver getting to the ball on time. But I mean, honestly, I think he probably just want to shut everybody up, and I mean, so we could show these people that we can actually win on the road and have a chance at the NFC title, and then after that have a chance at the Super Bowl.
Okay. Just a couple more questions. As far as the way ahead, looking into the NFL draft, your first pick, which will come later in the draft due to the fact that you all have had great success this year. What do you think owner Tom Benson or coach Sean Payton should be looking for to bring to the New Orleans Saints organization?
Our defense looked really good this year, considering the fact that we had the worst defense in the NFL last year. So I mean, that was a step up. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but I think definitely we need a better offensive line. I mean, we weren't terribly bad, but we weren't great either. We weren't great, so we need people to protect Drew Brees. Too many sacks this year. Too many sacks. So I think we need to work on our offensive line.
Definitely an important thing. Last night, of course, the Saints came out with a victory, and Sean Payton was quite pleased with what they were able to do in the final minutes, winning with the final field goal. As far as the ending analysis, personally, I would say that going into Seattle next week, of course, the Saints will be tested. Highlights of the game last night pretty much pointed out what needs to be done next week in Seattle as far as ball protection, as far as security for Drew Brees, and making sure that the Saints don't make mistakes early, because as we all know, when Seattle they're ball hungry, so once they go after the ball and they start capitalizing on people's mistakes, they can put away people early, and hopefully it won't be a monstrosity of a game that the Chiefs and Indianapolis Colts went through last night.
Yeah.
So as we're here, final minute, waiting for next week's NFL action, signing off, and you all have a great day.
Peace out.